It's the Unit 2 Lesson 5 homework, and of course it's with me, Miss Billman. We're going to look at parallelograms and triangles on this. Like the first one is a parallelogram. It's not a rhombus. A rhombus would have all equal sides, but sometimes when you look at a parallelogram, it's tricky because they've included the height that's in the middle. So when I'm finding the perimeter, which is the distance around, I'm not going to add the 3. It'll be the 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 5. Now, there are 2 4s and 2 5s because those sides are congruent. We should be hearing this a lot lately when we're talking about this. So when I want to find the perimeter, I'm going to add that all up, and it ends up being the sum of 8 and 10. So 18 centimeters is my answer for number 1. Now, the area. The area is when I'm going to use the height. The height is 3. The height will help us multiply, because if we were to multiply by 5, we're going to get a totally different answer. So you see I'm filling in the parallelogram shape, and that's because the area is on the inside. Perimeter is the fence, area is on the inside. So I'm going to multiply 4 and 3. Now, when I get the product of that, I have to square it. Remember, labels are important. If I do not know what you're measuring by, then I do not know your answer. Number 2. We have a triangle. Now, this triangle is very small, but it has a lot of numbers. The perimeter, I'm going to add the 4, the 13, and the 15 together. I am not doing the 12. The 12 is the height. Remember, the 15 and the 13, those are side lengths. I will use those when I am going to perimeter and finding the distance around. So perimeter for number 2, 32 centimeters. The area, this is when I will multiply the 4 and the 12. Now for a triangle, it's base multiplied by height divided by 2. I'm dividing it by 2 because it is making a total quadrilateral or a parallelogram if I just did base multiplied by height. So I'm going to draw in this, not a great picture of that, but still it is half of that of a quadrilateral. So I have 48 divided by 2, which is 24 centimeters squared. So final answer, 24 centimeters squared. Number 3, another triangle. So with this triangle, my 12 is my height. I'm already identifying that. 12 is my height. My 14 is my base. The base is directly below that 90-degree angle. So perimeter is 14, and I'm going to add 13 and 15 to it. So I'm going to write it out. 14 plus 15 plus 13. The more I get in the habit of writing out, the more I'm going to attend to precision, and I can double check my work. I'm not doing mental math in the hopes that I will be able to add that all up quickly. I'm writing it out, and I'm checking my answer. 42 centimeters for the perimeter. In the area, I'm doing 14 multiplied by 12 divided by 2. Again, base multiplied by height divided by 2. So my base is 14. My height is 12. And I will divide that by 2. Now, I may need to go off to the side and multiply my 14 and my 12 because I might not know off the tippy-toppy of my head 12 multiplied by 14, but that's okay. So 4 and 2 is 8. 2 multiplied by 1 is 2. Put my 0 down. I get 4 and 1. So I add that together. 8, 6, 1. Now I know I need to divide that in half, and luckily I do know 16 and 8 are multiples of 2. So 8 multiplied by 2 is 16. Subtract it, bring the 8 down. 2 multiplied by 8, or how many times can 2 go into 8? Is 4. So final answer of 84 centimeters squared. Now this one is a rhombus. A rhombus has all equal sides. That does not mean that it'll have the same height. Again, does not mean it's going to have the same height. If I had plural rhombus, it would be rhombi, which is just a fun word to say. At least I think so. So I'm going to multiply 7 and 4, which equals 28. I did that because I have 4 sides and they all equal the same. I could have just added 7, 7, 7, 7. Repeated addition of the same number is multiplication. So now you see I wrote out 7 multiplied by 4 divided by 2. That is some people's first instinct, is to divide it by 2 because it looks like 2 triangles. Again, it looks like 2 triangles, but it isn't. It is still 7 multiplied by 4, which is the height. We're going to skip 5 and 6 because I'm not sure how many people have a ruler at home. but we're going to go down to 7 and 8. A baseball diamond, so I know they're even on all sides, has an area of 3,600 feet squared. What is the distance between each base? How far does the runner run around the bases when hitting a home run? So I know when I'm finding the area, which is 3,600 feet squared, it has to be a number multiplied by a number to give me that. But that has to be the same number. Now, I can use some strategies that I have. I do know if I pull down that 36, 6 multiplied by 6 is 36. I do notice there are 2 zeros, but look what happens if I add it to both numbers. 600 multiplied by 600, well, that's going to give me an even bigger number. So knowing that there are 2 zeros in the end after that 36, I could take that strategy of, okay, 6 multiplied by 6 gives me a product of 36. So I know it's 60 feet between each base. Again, it's a strategy that you can use when you're trying to do big numbers like the 3,600. Now, when it's asking for the distance around for how far someone would run if they hit a home run, that's going to be the perimeter. I can either add 60 4 times or I can multiply 60 by 4. And I get a total of 240 feet. Notice it is not squared. It is 240 feet. That is it, because it is the perimeter. Number 8, a postcard in the shape of a parallelogram has an area of 12 inches squared. What are 2 possible lengths of bases and heights for the postcard? I'm going to draw myself a picture. I do know a parallelogram, it's going to be kind of a slanted or a diagonal rectangle. I almost said rhombus. But that area is equal to base multiplied by height. Now I can ask myself, 12 is equal to 2 numbers multiplied together, and it gave me that product. So I do know it could be 2 and 6. So my base could be 2 and my height could be 6. I could also have a base of 6 and a height of 2. Remember, we can change those. I could also have a base of 3 and a height of 4. But I could also do a base of 4 and a height of 3.